Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylin and today I wanted to talk about 10 reasons why you might be unable to stop spending money. And I've thought about times in my own life for this, and it's not in any way judgmental. It's just I was thinking about my own reasons for being addicted to spending at certain times in my life and how you can kind of get out of the mindset and break it. So number one is you haven't faced it head on and recognized it as a problem yet. So you might just be spending like mindlessly and you haven't really realized the impact that it's having on your savings or your finances, or even like the debt that you're getting into, because you haven't sat down to think about what it's actually doing and the bigger picture. And I think that it can be easy to just kind of switch off and keep spending and just not think about it because it's easier to just avoid it. But actually, if you face the problem and confront it, even though you might not like how it looks, it will do good long term. Number two is that you aren't tracking your spending and you're turning a blind eye to it. I think that whenever my spending kind of has got out of control in the past, it's because I'm not keeping track and I'm not sticking to a budget and I am just spending and not checking my bank statements. And I find that the more I check my bank statements, the easier it is to kind of keep track of where I am and what it is I'm actually spending money on or wasting money on. And I think it's important to kind of check in with yourself regularly with that and make it an activity that you sit down and do, because it helps you so much to stay on budget and see where the problem areas are and find out where your weaknesses are and think about how to eliminate them or cut back. Number three is that you've got swept up into our consumer culture without even realizing it. I think that we're really influenced by everyone and everything we're surrounded with, and we're constantly absorbing information from our environment about spending and consumerism, and we don't even realize it's happening because it's done in such an insidious way. But I think if you step back from it and start to like make a point of looking out for the ways that it features in our society, it really does start to strike you like how much it affects our behavior. So like even just looking at things like billboards, noticing adverts and questioning them, thinking about like emails that you receive and the way they're worded to make you feel like if you don't hurry up and buy something, you're going to lose the opportunity forever. And just kind of unpicking the whole thing and watching videos about it as well to find out more about it and kind of take a step back from being part of that culture. And it can be really easy to fall into doing what everyone else is doing and it becomes normal because everybody else is doing it. But actually, I think that the way we live nowadays is not, if you compare it to most other like eras in the past, it's not normal. Number four is just like simply that you haven't broken the daily habits of spending. Like I think that it's really easy to just get into a pattern of behavior and then just keep doing it every day and not question it and not stop and think too hard about doing things differently. Like the same can apply to any other daily habit, like smoking, for example, or drinking, or like binge eating, or it can be anything in your life, like just any habit that you're doing on a daily basis. It doesn't even have to be like a bad habit. It could be like your typical walking route and you just don't question it and you just automatically do it every day. But if you just stop and think about your spending and think about your daily purchases or the amount that you tend to spend each day, or all of the little habits that you have and ways to change your routine to break the habits, that is so helpful in redirecting like your thinking and creating new habits that are more sustainable for your finances. Number five is that you're trying to heal a wound that can't be healed through shopping. And I think this is a really common one because there's a lot of people who have like deep psychological issues, but they don't have the tools to cope with it or to know how to go about unpicking it all. So shopping is a really easy solution because it's just like you just go out, spend money, get a little buzz and come home and feel a little bit better for a while. But it doesn't actually fix any of the problems that are there to begin with. And it's just like a salve for something that it doesn't actually really work. But I think it's really common to use shopping as like a bandage for wounds, but it doesn't work overall, and it just creates more problems the more you do it, because then it becomes like your go-to whenever you're sad or stressed or upset about something, and then you can't really break the habit because it just becomes so ingrained in you. And I think like looking at that and thinking about counselling or journaling, even if you can't afford counselling, as ways to deal with those problems, it's just much more effective and will work better longer term, and you'll actually deal with the problems instead of kind of avoiding them and always rerouting into consumerism and spending instead. Number 6 is that you are just addicted to the high, because you do get a buzz. Like, it provides dopamine whenever you buy something, and it just makes you feel in that instant like you've bought happiness, but you can't buy happiness, and that feeling isn't happiness. It's like any other high, like any other drug, and it's not real, and it's the same addiction because it's something you have to keep doing again and again and again, and you'll never be satisfied. There'll always be the next fix that you're searching for. Number 7 is you haven't got clear enough financial goals, because it's really hard to stay on track when you don't have the motivation to do it. Like, you don't have anything in the back of your mind that you can remind yourself of, like, this is the reason why I'm doing this. And sometimes it can be hard to be disciplined with our money and our spending habits, but it keeps you on track when you know you're saving for a purpose. So I think it's really important to have a clear goal in mind of what you're saving for. Like, are you trying to build up your savings for like an emergency fund? Are you saving for your retirement? Are you saving because you want to change your whole life and go and do something different that will actually make you happy? Like, are you saving so that you can get out of debt? Like, you need to find whatever it is that motivates you to stop spending, and once you've identified it, it's much easier. Number 8 is you felt deprived at some point in your life and you're making up for it now. And this can kind of be a trap, because you could maybe have had a childhood where you lived in poverty, or some phase in your life where you felt like you had to say no to yourself all the time, and now you want to say yes. But I think a lot of people are like trying to make up for that phase. You're never going to be satisfied through shopping, and maybe you felt deprived for another reason at that time in your life, and it wasn't actually anything to do with money, but that's just like an easy fix. So I think that it is important to think about that and to realize that spending money and buying yourself things because you feel like you're owed them now because you didn't have them at one point, it's never going to make up for it, and it's just creating more problems like debt and ruining your budget and giving you other money worries and bills to deal with. And it's just, think about the actual reason why you felt deprived during that time, and just face those emotions and deal with it, and instead of trying to just kind of plaster over it with shopping. And number 9 is you're addicted to just running around, and this is one I've been guilty of a lot in the past, and I kind of have to check myself at certain points and make sure I'm not doing it again, because you can kind of fall back into old habits very easily if you don't kind of monitor them. And I think that if you're out and about running around all the time, you're going to be spending so much more money than if you're kind of settled in your house, or you're just like, you know, going for walks, keeping things simple. Like, if you go out, you're going to be confronted constantly with situations where you could spend money. It doesn't have to be in shops, it can be like markets, it could be like your children asking you for things when you're out, or you fill your time with entertainment to pass the time, but you end up having to make unnecessary purchases because of it, or unplanned purchases. And I just find that the more we're out, the more we end up spending. And I have to be really careful if we are going out to do things like bring snacks and drinks and remember all those little things, because otherwise it can very quickly add up. Like, even if you're just out and you get thirsty or hungry and then you have to pick something up when you're out, but if you were at home you could just have whatever's in the house. But sometimes I just think if you can kind of dial it back and just stay home more often, it definitely helps, and you're presented with fewer opportunities to spend money. And the final one, number 10, is just that you like bright and shiny things and you are easily sucked in by them. And this definitely applies to me. Like, I love clothes and books, and I love like new pretty things that I can put in my house, or like makeup products that I think look appealing. And you might just be the type of person who is sort of a visual person and you're easily kind of excited by the things that you see and they look new and exciting and it's very tempting. But if you can just try and remind yourself that after you've bought it, that rush will just die away and the novelty will quickly wear off. And I also find when I'm feeling like this, what helps me is to think, where am I going to put this in my house? Like, think about the actual place that you have in mind for it. Is there a home for it already, or are you going to have to move stuff around and force it into a cupboard to make space for it? Because I find that very off-putting, and I'm a cluttery person anyway, so I'm trying to kind of gradually declutter, so I don't want to be bringing new things in all the time. And just because you like something, it doesn't mean you have to buy it. You can appreciate it for that moment and then move on, and you'll probably forget about it sooner than you would have thought. So yeah, I hope that these tips help somebody, and thanks for watching. My kids finished school for Christmas today, so they might be quite busy for a while, and I am not sure yet about video schedules and stuff, but I will do my best to keep putting up videos regularly. I will see you soon. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more content. Bye.